So what have Ansel Adams, Dorothea Lange and Annie Leibovitz have in common? Well, they're all photographers, but what we're forgetting is they are big names in the art of taking photos. But what about people like Steve Cook, Terry Lee and Deb Rukin-Smith? Never heard of them? Well, we're going to put that right as we put photographers in the frame. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Busy Man's Guide to Photography with me, Paul Adams. Now, when we think of photography, we think of 3 key elements: technology, technique, and taking the photos. But there's one ingredient that we often forget about a great photo: the photographer. So come with me as we put our first photographer in the frame. What?
Hello, matey.
Phil?
Hello, mate.
Who's that?
Smith. Smithy.
Right, is Phil there?
Oh, you've got the wrong photo, mate.
Oh, okay, this is the address I was given.
There comes a time when one must take responsibility for one's mistakes. Now bagger off.
Ah, that was a bit awkward. Well, it's a bit of a fail, so we'll probably leave it there and... Hello, Phil.
Hi, Paul.
So Phil,
Yeah.
you've been out today. You had a good day?
Yeah, it's been pretty well, and the weather's held for a change. Usually in Aylesbury it rains constantly. Yeah.
So, what made you become a photographer?
Well, I started off as a kid, I was really into music, and you're a musician
Yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
so you know it's been ingrained in you, and for a long time I loved playing music, and I still do. To this day I still have a jam session at my house and record some stuff. But when I sort of was in my teen years, I started to play around with a camera. My dad got me a camera for Christmas and I absolutely loved it. At that time I still didn't really think photography was going to be anything that I was going to do for the last couple of years. But then when I moved here to the UK, I found I could really play around with that, and I had open avenues to learn all the stuff. Like internet and YouTube was something that is pretty foreign back home because we don't have all that information at that time at my age. So we kind of just ended up learning it here. And yeah, just, you know, on your phone now, all these new smartphones were coming out, so you've got brilliant cameras on that, and there's still a market for that. So I loved editing on my phone. I love the portability of it. I love being able to, you know, pop it in your, not being restricted. You can go anywhere and everywhere with your phone. So I love shooting on a camera, a DSLR camera, but I still get the best out of a mobile phone when you don't have that.
So did you do much photography in Zimbabwe? I mean, that's where you're originally from, Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
So did you do much in Zimbabwe, or is it more UK?
I did a little bit because I worked for a music studio, and they had marketing campaigns that they needed photos for their Facebook and social media. And at the time, the guy running it, really good friend of mine, decided, hey, can you take some photos and, you know, spruce up things? And I did, and I took some photos and he liked them and stuff. And then I also got into a bit of selling and designing leaflets with Coral Draw, because I didn't have Photoshop back then.
Okay.
That was really old, isn't it? But yeah, I worked out I could shoot something on a white piece of paper, cut it out in Coral Draw and stick it on. And I was just using my phone back then. So that's before I got, you know, proper digital camera now. And you can, you know, these are the kind of things that you go, wow, okay, I can do this with that. So that kind of carried on when I moved to the UK, and it's just grown now, the options.
So that brings us onto your channel.
Yeah.
24,000 subscribers, 991,000 views, and you've only been going
since August last year.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you. But I don't know what to pin the success on. I don't know if it is successful yet, but I am finding it really took off with one particular video, as you know, which was a double exposure and showing people how to do this on Snapseed. Now, there are a few people who've done it, but I think a lot of people have pointed out that I took more time and I took more detail explaining how it was done and how to do it. But I like to take my time with photography. If you want to do it right, take your time. It's an art, so it takes a lot of practice.
Steve Richmond will be happy you said that.
But I've learned, but the thing is, it is true.
We don't want to give him that little credit though, because his head will get big.
Yes, Steve. But yes, the success of it, I think, came down to people being able to look at the video and say, right, I don't have a DSLR camera, I don't have Photoshop, I don't have Lightroom. All these programs that you need to do this with, you can actually do for free with your phone.
The question about that is, do you prefer mobile photography over DSLR, or DSLR over mobile, or do you kind of like them about the same?
I think it depends on what you're shooting and who you're shooting for and what your style is. I prefer mobile shooting because it's so portable. You don't have to carry a kit bag. You don't need, to be lugging down a massive tripod and lenses and all that. So if you want to spend the day out somewhere and you just happen to see this really cool scene or something that you want to capture, and that's all you have is your phone. And if you know how to use it, you can really bring out some really good images out of your basic phone.
What's your favorite go-to camera?
And this will shock you, is the Nikon D200.
Nikon?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't shock me.
No. Well, the thing is, it has sentimental value to me because it was a gift from someone, my partner, who decided, for Valentine's she'll get me a camera. And I've been pining after a decent DSLR camera for a while. And she bought me this D200. And D200, if you look on the scale of cameras, it's not the greatest. It's crop sensor body. But I was just impressed by the images, and still today I use it for some of my work. I love the grain in some of the images I get from it. And I know people go, oh, I don't want grain in my images because it looks very, amateurish, and oh, it shoots bad in low light. But I find I can get some really decent images with it, and I know it inside out. So it is my go-to camera on some of my jobs and some of my business as well. But I still prefer shooting with D50-200 if I have to do things like video, because the D200 doesn't. So,
right.
But I'm a Nikon man through and through. Yeah.
Canon, Nikon, Nikon.
Nikon, is it Nikon or Nikon?
It's Nikon.
Someone argue with us in the comments about this.
Do you have a favorite photographer?
Wow. Yeah. There's a few up there. I don't per se have one favorite photographer, but I have quite a few I follow, because I find some people, I like their perspective of how they do the photography, and other people I don't. So I have one that stands out for me, and that's probably Peter McKinnon.
Who would you like to see me put in the frame?
I would like to see some of the local people who have been hiding in the shadows, and you tend to see the images, but you don't really see them. And it'd be good to get those sort of input. You see their work, but you don't really know them.
So there we go, that is episode 4, all nicely done. So thank you very much to Phillip Lee of Krytan Photography. You can check out his details at the bottom of this video, and we'll see what happens next time. But before we go, all I can say to you is stay sharp, stay focused, and stay busy. Yeah, all right, I'll stop.